for the last couple of years, I have been trying to try all different types of genres when it comes to anime. I'm trying to broaden my horizons so I can get a better scope of the anime community as a whole. And one genre that you don't really see me talk about a lot is romances, and I've watched a fair few of them, so much so that I have actually fell in love with the romance genre so much. Now, don't get me wrong, one of the things I have noticed when going to other genres is, just like shonen, a lot of other genres have a lot of schlock. They have their own tropes, they have their own type of problems, where a bunch of them will come out and they will more or less be the same. It's the same with shonen, shoujos, romances, isekais, and mechas. They all have their own set formulas that each one follows. But just like every other genre, you have your standouts. You got your bangers, and you got your ones that sure, they follow the formula, but the formula that they use, they somehow perfect it. They somehow perfect the formula. And today, I want to go ahead and talk about my top 10 favorite romances of all time. I know I did a top 10 previously, but I do want to talk about the top 10 romances. And with it being so close to Valentine's, or it being Valentine's by the time this video comes out, love is in the air, and even though I'm a sad single man, I could at least live my romance dreams vicariously through the characters on my screen. I'm sad. I'm so sad. I haven't felt love in so long. So enough yapping, enough chit chat, enough jibber jabber. Let's go ahead and dive into my top 10 romances of all time. At number 10, we have Hokkaido Girls Are Super Adorable. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. With this one, there's not really anything special about it. There's nothing that really makes it stand out or really makes it, an outstanding romance. But out of romances that go into that formula that I talked about previously, it's definitely one of those animes that has perfected it somehow. It still does the will they, won't they trope when it comes to anime, but from here it feels a bit more genuine. It feels a bit more sincere in this sense, where there's a lot of anime, good example, Rent a Girlfriend, that seems to have this stagnation when it comes to a lot of shows. But Hokkaido Girls, even though it still has a bit of that stagnation, again, it feels not bothersome. It's not something that is frustrating and something that isn't problematic. Now, I will admit this is the first season, and the first season, you could give it a little bit of a breather, you could give it a little bit of a pass. So maybe potentially if there's a season 2 that comes out eventually, or there's a season for it that, we get more expansion on it, that maybe we'll see more of this slog kind of go on, and maybe potentially we could have that issue. But right now, it's really cute and it's really fun. I will say a big part of why I really like Hokkaido Gals is also because of the voice acting for the main girl, specifically the dub for this, because she sounds like a backwater Canadian, but I love it so much. And I get it. I think that's what people in Hokkaido might sound like. Maybe not. Maybe I'm being fucked. But I love the accent for the main girl so much. I just hear her talking. It's like, oh, you just a country girl, which Hokkaido I think is more on the countryside when it comes to, Japan as a country. But I think the dubbing for this was a really good choice. I would actually recommend, if you're watching Hokkaido Gals, if you're an English speaking person, of course, go ahead, watch the dub. The dub for this, I think, makes it so much better. And I think it's part of why I like Hokkaido Gals so much, because getting that accent for, the countryside, getting the countryside accent so thick really helped with this. And I don't think it would have translated very well if I watched this sub. Not to mention the main guy doesn't seem all that dumb and oblivious. I can give him a bit of a pass with being somebody who's new to the town and not from the countryside, coming all the way from the city and trying to adjust and whatnot. So I could kind of give him a pass, with the exception of the end of season at the end of season 1, which is why it is at 10 and not any higher. But I did enjoy myself watching this, and I enjoyed this more than a lot of other romances I have. And honestly, I will admit, if there's some that I have finished, Hokkaido Girls would probably not have been at 10. But in terms of romances that I have finished, romance that I have completed, Hokkaido Girls I think comfortably sits at the 10th spot for me. At number 9 on the list, we have Don't Mess With Me, Miss Nagatoro. Now, if I'm being honest, a lot of what could be said back for Hokkaido Gals, you could definitely say for Nagatoro. But I think they do that trope a lot better with the whole twist with Nagato and Senpai's interactions. I was definitely hesitant at first when watching Nagatoro after hearing all of this stuff that it was kind of a bully show and it played into this weird dynamic. I was definitely skeptical as to how this was going to play out and how they were going to address it. But after watching the last 2 seasons, honestly, I have really enjoyed it. I think it definitely plays more into that younger aspect of, oh, I like you, so I'm going to pull you type stuff. And you know, maybe you don't know how to translate your feelings towards certain things, so you do it in that way. That's kind of the vibe I get when it comes to Nagatoro, where it's kind of doing it at a sense, and they are building to more of that, which I do appreciate. I mean, even with season 2, there are aspects where Naruto is probably getting bullied by other people or getting talked down about, and Nagatoro will stand up for Naruto, being like, hey, listen, I may be able to bully him, that's my boy, you're not gonna do that. And I appreciate that. I appreciate when there's moments like that where there's clarity of, yes, we have this dynamic, but that is different. That is completely different. That's not you, that's me. I will say they also do a lot better of a job when it comes to other romances, helping out with a lot of the side characters. Where I tend to find a lot of romances, if it's focused on just the 2 main people, a lot of side characters will quickly fall to the wayside if they don't already have their own kind of like A-B plot when it comes to romances. But when it comes to the rest of the side characters, they're actually pretty engaging. Maki, Yoshi, and Sakura are all pretty dynamic characters in themselves. And while, of course, they're not the deepest characters, they're not the most elaborate, it's just nice having them have a personality. And you know what? Thank God they're not the typical romance characters that are just going to dick ride whatever friend that they have. Maki does call out Nagato sometimes. Yoshi's just a genuinely funny character. And the only weird one is Sakura, where she definitely seems the most provocative out of all of them. But honestly, it's so whatever because you rarely even see it in the show. The only one that could see being like kind of like a, hey, whoa there, is the president of the art club that Naoto's in, which, yeah, that could get pretty fucking bad, I'm not gonna lie. If anything, Don't Mess With Me, Miss Nagatoro is just a fun romance experience. Better than so many that I have, where some could just be boring and formulaic. And this Nagatoro does follow that formula, but it's a formula that they at least have fun with. They do super quirky things, and it never feels stale. That's the biggest thing with a lot of the romances that is in the genre, is that a lot of them will feel stale after a while. Even after season 2, where most of them will have their teetering point, it doesn't feel stale. And I genuinely appreciate that so much from the show. It's also quite interesting as well as it recently finished, and it's one of the only manga I have heard of that didn't actually have a shit ending. So, you know what? Kudos to Don't Mess With Me in this Nagatoro, because that seems to be a trend with a lot of manga recently. All of that basically just to say that Nagatoro is firmly right there in my number 9 spot. Number 8 on my list is Skip Beat, and Skip Beat is such a memorable romance, not only for the fact that it genuinely is, at the time, at least at the time of watching it, it felt unique, but it's such a beautiful story, and it was a story that, it's weird to say, but helped a lot watching while I was growing up. The only other anime that I know had an impact that you would, in my life, that you would have never expected whatsoever is Nana, and I wanted to bring it up. I wanted to bring it up because I know a lot of people are going to mention it. I would have put Nana on this list. I haven't finished Nana yet, and it's been a long time since I've watched Nana. I've watched at least Skip Beat a lot more recently than Nana, and I wanted to potentially watch this for Nana, but I never got around to it. So I'm addressing that there. I know there's a lot of people that are going to say, where's Nana? I want to acknowledge Nana's existence. The romance aspect of Skip Beat is wonderful, as it kind of is a lovers triangle, hatred to lovers kind of thing, but not really, where the main character Kyoko gets into acting for revenge, and the person that she ends up meeting through that doesn't like the reason why she's in acting at first, but eventually, through her perseverance and through her betterment of herself, Ren, the person that she does end up meeting, ends up growing a fondness for her as she's able to separate her revenge and her anger and able to find a new path for herself through her love of acting. And I like that because you see the person that they want to be with, you see the person that they care about, and initially they don't like them because they think they have an ugly personality for entering a craft that they love. But eventually you see them grow into loving that same craft, to eventually you just appreciate that person. It's a story that I haven't really seen ever be told in that same way, which is why I appreciate Skip Beat so much for it. I mean, I also would be lying if I didn't say I like the story because of the spitefulness of the main character Kyoyo for the dude that left her named Sho. Because imagine being so spiteful, so petty at the person that broke your heart that you not only get into the same field as they do, but succeed even better. It's that beautiful saying of the best way to get revenge on the people that you hate is to just live your life happy. That is basically the essential of what that saying is, dialed up to like 12. Because not only are you trying to be happy, but you're trying to be happy in the thing that makes them happy. So you see them be more happy. I don't think it was the purpose of the creator to do it, but it is the most beautiful, pettiest thing I've ever seen in anime. On top of everything I just said, it is just a genuinely good story about self-reflection and growth. There are not many stories that tell it the way that Skip Beat does, which is why I will always cherish it. It's not the top when it comes to romances, but for me, it is a romance that stands out, and it is a romance that I think more people should go back and watch. I think it could help a lot of us nowadays. At number 7, we have Domestic Girlfriend, and hold on. I know what you're thinking. No, just give me a minute. Just give me some time to explain why this is on my list. I promise you I could explain. Domestic Girlfriend is a weird romance anime, right? It skirts this very fine line that has always existed in anime between appropriate and not appropriate. What you can talk about and what you can't talk about. And it plays with that line. It's like that kid who you say not to touch something, but they just hover their finger ever so slightly, never really touching that line, right? Never really touching that line, but it does. They fuck with you just every so often, to just do that. That in itself is Domestic Girlfriend. It is this anime that just toes this romance line, and you know what? It does it in such a good job. Call me whatever you want, man. But this anime, this romance, it gave me so much, I don't even know what word I could use honestly to describe it, but it gave me so much anxiety, agita, stress watching it that I don't think there's an anime that could appropriately replicate what I went through watching this. And when I watched Domestic Girlfriend, the word that I came up with, or the phrase rather that I came up with when watching this, is peak trash. 2 words that are very polar opposites with each other, but I think fits Domestic Girlfriend very nicely. It is a show that has subject matter that is very much towing a line, very much something that you definitely see in certain parts of anime. But in terms of the mainstream, not so much. Actually, that's not even true. Oh my god, maybe it's not towing a line. Maybe it's towing a thicker line than I thought. Now that I'm recording this, now that I'm sitting here and actually talking about it, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not with the amount of bullshit that anime makes. But Domestic Girlfriend does play this back and forth game where most people would just write this off as trash, right? Most people would just write it off as some other bullshit that was made by the anime industry. But the way they tell it, the way they explore it, the way they explain it, the dynamics between the characters and the situations that they're in, my god. It's almost like you're watching a reality TV show. It's almost like you're watching a telenovela that you just can't pull your way out of it. You can't. You really can't. It's so addicting to watch. It's like a car crash, right? You want to look away because you know you might not want to watch it, but you can't stop because you want to see what's next. Because there's that curiosity that everybody has in their body. And it's just ever so often poking at your curiosity that you look back and you're just like, okay, what else you got? Is it a little bit psycho? Is it a little bit deranged of me to say that? Yeah, probably. I'm not going to deny that. But Domestic Girlfriend storytelling is just so fantastic. It's hard to not put it on the list. Especially in the anime industry where talking about sensitive or talking about taboo topic can be such problematic to the point where they don't have the anime, majority of the anime, don't even fucking do it right. It becomes such a fucking problem that they don't even do it right, that some people will just write off the entire anime. And I completely understand that. I don't blame anybody for not wanting to explore the weird ass topics in anime, which is why it's so hard to introduce some people to it, to a show that may be hard to talk about, because the people who created it, the author and the mangaka who decided to create the story, didn't even fucking try to do it in a nuanced way or a way that could be appropriate. They just kind of throw it in there. So I understand it. But the creator for Domestic Girlfriend does it in a way that not many people in the industry do, which is why I felt the necessity to put it on, because it's such a beautiful way to tell a story. It's trashy, but it's a beautiful way to tell a story. And the romance, while it can be problematic, is compelling, is interesting. It is something that catches your eye, and it does it in a way that's fantastical, intriguing. I don't even know. I'm not trying to sound like a big brain Andy here, but I can't think of anything else when it comes to the show. It is genuinely a very gripping show. Call me trash if you want. Call me a DJ if you want. Domestic Girlfriend has some really good storytelling, some really good character dynamics, development, just character everything. And the OP is such a banger that I have to put it up here. I have to put it up here. At least at number 7. At least at number 7. At number 6, we have My Dress Up Darling. Now, I have talked about this anime before, my love for it, the fact that it's just a beautiful little show. But basically, to reiterate everything I said back in that review, My Dress Up Darling is a wonderful, wonderful little romance. Not only for the fact that it does the formula thing so goddamn well, but the story of just two people who have weird little interests that each one of their worlds, don't really understand, and them colliding and being able to be comfortable around each other. It's nice, and it's cute, and it's kind of adorable. It's definitely one that I think a lot of us can relate to when you find that person who's very interested in your niche, very interested in the little hobbies that you do that not everyone might be able to do, and you can flourish with that person, supporting you, with that person giving you encouragement. It's nice, and I think it's the reason that it got popular, because a lot of people who watch that, including myself, can resonate with a story like that. I mean, that's why a lot of us like romances, right? We can project ourselves into partner A or partner B and imagine ourselves having a partner like that, having somebody that, we can imagine ourselves in with that relationship dynamic with. So with My Dress Up Darling, it makes perfect sense why something like this would be so popular, with the dynamic of just two little dorks who like such weird things, and them being able to flourish, but being able to blossom. It's nice, it's beautiful, it's cute, it's understandably something a lot of us want. I mean, shit, if you could find me a girl that is into Destiny and Warframe as much as I am right now, the amount of times where our dates would just be nothing but playing that game. Like, just thinking about it now would be nice. There's other aspects why this anime is also popular. That's a whole conversation for another day. But at least in terms of the dynamic of the relationship, I do think is a big catalyst for why I put it up so high on this list. Again, it does the formula well. It doesn't do anything groundbreaking when it comes to the formula at all, but I think the formula paired with this dynamic does make for a cute little story, and I think the way they're approaching it is also very nice as well. And I know everyone's gonna get mad at me that there's other anime that do this exact same thing. I can't think of it at the top of my head, and there's some that I know. There's the anime with the girl with the eye patch, or I forget what you call them. I forget what the anime is called, but I know that anime exists. I haven't watched it yet, been meaning to, and it's on my list, and I want to watch it because it looks cute. But as of right now, My Dress Up Darling is the anime that I would put into that slot, because it's just so damn cute. At number 5 on the list, we have Kaguya Sama Love is War. And this is the anime that made me want to dive back into romance, because when I watched Kaguya Sama Love is War for the first time, I remember being baffled, being amazed at this show, because this show was genuinely one of the best romance experiences I have ever had. I am somebody that loves the over-top shit when it comes to anime. When it comes to the wacky and the weird and just the absurd, that's my thing, and I love it so much. So when you approach me with Kaguya-sama and tell the story about these two high schoolers who they're very sort of kind of aware that they like each other, but they don't want to be the ones to confess it, and it turns into this weird competition where both of them are trying to get the other to confess, and they have these plots and ploys. It's really fun. Not only fun, but very creative at the same time. It's taking that trope in romance of partner A and partner B just being so nervous to want to talk to each other that it just turns turns into full-blown just insanity. There's nothing else I could say other than just pure insanity. Not only does it present the premise, but it does it so well with the amount of shenanigans and the different type of things they'll get into, and just the way they look at every different aspect of their life as some competition, while at the same time still having this level of respect and love for each other that it's not even a secret, honestly, to anybody in that school that they do have some type of thing for each other. It's just something that's not verbally said, of course, to the point that towards the end it just becomes something that is just, I don't even care anymore. That the love for each other becomes so big, they just go, I don't care, I just want to be with you. And that is honestly super adorable and super great the way that they get there. Now, initially I was a bit worried at first because season 1 was such a banger, but season 2 was a bit slower, if not more the same, but it definitely was a building block to season 3 where they just ramped everything up where we get to the finale of the season 3 episode. Now, I haven't watched the movie yet, I need to go ahead and do that, but I still wanted to put it on here because this show is genuinely just so good. And to be fair, I don't know if the movie is the finale, I'm not 100% sure about that. I'm kind of surprised that there was a movie after this since, you know, we got the kiss towards the end, but I need to watch that movie. I really need to watch that movie because it is such a good show that honestly takes the romance genre and kind of flips it on its head while still getting to the same results. Like I said before, it's mega creative. Even though it stales a little bit, it's still super good, and I love every aspect of it. They even take some of the time to explain the side characters. Dude, they take so much time to explain the side characters to the point that they're developing alongside with them, to when you have the moment where they all potentially might have to leave the student council, it's all sad to genuinely see them potentially go. Like legit, when that episode happened, I was like, damn, this is actually somber, because each one of them grew with the student council in their own weird way. Each one of them developed in their own special type of path. So to see them have that somber, yeah, this dynamic might be coming to an end, it hurt. It genuinely hurt. It genuinely hurt to see. I truly could not thank enough for Kaguya Sama for sparking my I could not thank enough for Kaguya Sama to spark my interest of wanting to watch more romance anime, because if I never watched this show, I wouldn't be here making this video. I wouldn't be here talking about romances like the way I do. Sure, it's not up there in like my top number 1, but it's still one of the best out there by far, hands down. At number 4, we have Alya Sometimes. Oh, hold on. That's a long title. At number 4, we have Alya Sometimes Speaks in Russian, and this one is definitely newer. It's really newer. This one came out like last year. But despite that, it has caught my attention so much that I had to put it this high on the list, because Alya sometimes only speaks in Russian. Alya speaks in Russian. I don't know what you call it. The show Alya is genuinely such a good concept with such good writing. I remember going into the show, liking the premise of this show, but not really knowing where they were going to go to it. Potentially going to stick to the more of the formula sense of it, but the direction they go with it, the path, the character plot, the character development, the weaving of stories, the exploration of people's past. Alya did not have to go this hard when it came to the political school stuff, when it came to the dynamics of certain things, when it came to how the characters interacted. It did not have to do the little secret stuff, the little hinting of certain things, the little mystery of characters who might be other characters from people's past. We did not have to go this hard. We did not have to explore the things that it did in order to be an entertaining romance. But Alya went above and beyond and did just that. With a show like Alya, it's not just the romance you're invested in. You're invested in the character's past. How did this character turn into that character? How did our main boy turn into the way he is now, even though he has this past? Why is he not talking with his family? What's up with Alya? What's up with the dynamic of her sister? Why is the student council the way it is? Why is her sister kind of close to other people? It's so weird. There's so much of the show that explores little things, and I haven't even gotten all the answers. We've gotten some answers to a lot of things, but we don't have all the answers. And I am excited. It excites me thinking about what this show can do, what this show can explore, how this show is going to address certain aspects of family life and relationships and school dynamics and political school things. Oh my God, and the way that they do all the plotting and scheming. Oh, it's like a mystery romance, the detective romance. I don't even know what you would call it, but Alya does such a good job. I can't explain it. I'm so flabbergasted, and I love it so much because it is so hard to explain to you how good and amazing this show is. Again, I get it. We're only on the first season. We're only on the first plot. I understand people maybe being a little bit hesitant. I understand. I get it. We're only on the first season, but it was a banger first season. It is genuinely a good season. It is a good season of television, man. It is a good season of television. It is a good season of anime, and it's a good season of romance. Even if the romance sometimes took a backseat to the other little mysterious things, which can be a fault of the show, I still think Alya is one of the best romances to come out, not just in 2024, but in this potential decade, man. Oh man, Alya is going to be up there as a banger romance, and hopefully if it continues on the trajectory that it is, it's going to be hopefully solidify itself as one of the best romances of all time. But if it doesn't, this is going to age very poorly, so fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. At number 3, we have Toradora, a romance that's not only just a super impactful story, but it's a doozy of a romance, man. There's not many anime when I go to watch it and it's been out for a while. I rarely have the reaction of, man, I should have watched this sooner, or where has this been all my life? But Toradora was genuinely one of those shows where I sat there and I regret never finding it in my adolescence, because my God, that whole story is phenomenal. From start to finish, it really has no bad spots. You want to talk about a story that has hard-hitting topics? You want to talk about an anime that explores the hard shit? You want to talk about an anime that does good character development? Toradora right there is for you to love and appreciate for that reason. There are very few anime that do it like Toradora, not only just in the romance genre, but I think in an anime as a whole. And it's so interesting how many aspects Toradora explores. The fact that you can never judge a book by its cover, or the idea that love can blossom from anywhere, even hatred, and just the struggles of typical high school stuff to some more various serious topics when it comes to self-identification and all that. Toradora is a story that is genuinely, it's nothing more than just a phenomenal anime to watch. And yeah, sure, given how it is kind of a slow burn when it comes to the way it approaches its dynamics and it approaches the story, but it's one of those slow burns that you hope can pay off and you can kind of see where the path is. It's a slow burn, but it's a slow burn with a direction right off the bat, and you're definitely there for the initial changes that happen, and it's a payoff that is definitely worth it. Not to mention, every character in this show just matters. I know I harp on so much about that, but it's not even just romances. There's so many shows that don't want to ever give care to any of their side characters in a way that is meaningful, especially to the ones that actually have an impact in the show. So when shows like Toradora actually come around and give a level of care that is not only the minimum that a lot of people may ask for, but goes above and beyond for what they're trying to do, it's appreciative. It's genuinely something that is sought after, because you give so much more depth to your shows when everybody can be cared about, when you have more characters than just the main cast that can be cared about, that can be loved and have their own little paths that they can follow, because it also enhances the dynamics between the other characters. It's something that I will always constantly harp about. I apologize if it sounds kind of annoying, but for me, I do definitely appreciate it. And it definitely does it one of the best. Out of all the romances that I watch, it's definitely one of the best shows that have that character dynamic. Seriously, Toradora is nothing short of a great anime, and if there's any one on this list for you guys to watch, I would highly recommend this one. At number 2, we have Your Lie in April. And Your Lie in April is not only just a phenomenal show that so many people love. For me personally, it is so great because it is a romance that's surrounded around music. If you've been following my channel for any amount of time, any anime that has to do with the aspect of music, I love. I love so much because you know you're gonna get a banger soundtrack. And not only that, as someone who I've spent my life around music, I used to be in band, I used to play the clarinet, I've wanted to learn various instruments, I used to take piano, I still make music till this day. So anything that has to do with music or the aspect of creating music, being a part of music, I'm going to 100% resonate with. And it's up this high for that reason. I wouldn't feel good if I didn't at least say that. So when you go ahead and you add the aspect of music and being passionate about something like that and losing it through traumatic experiences and pain, and being able to find somebody that not only ignites your passion again, but gives you a reason to want to try to be better at that passion, to go back at it and be as great as you once before, that's a beautiful story. That's an impactful story to go through. And that's what I think Your Lie in April is so good. Again, we like to project ourselves on these characters. So I think for a lot of people, not who just play music, but something that you're passionate about, something that, you know, you may have lost your love for, to be able to find that passion again, to be able to reignite that love through the love of a person that you care about, I think it's one of the most beautiful things. It sounds cheesy. Forgive me for being cheesy, but I think being able to reignite your love for something with more love is a beautiful story. Being able to overcome that pain, that trauma, that hard time that may have pushed you away, to come back and persevere and be stronger than ever and be better than ever alongside a person you care about, it is great. Again, I think a lot of us would like that, especially some of us who have been in a darker position, who have been in that same position where we haven't had that same love for that same thing. But if we have somebody by our side doing that, it could help. It's a show that every time I watch it, I fall in love with it over and over and over again, because it is just that type of story. It is hard to not fall in love with a story that shows you the good. It shows you the good and the great, and it shows you that there is a path forward even if you're in dire times, where you may be in a dark place and you may not feel like you have much going on, but sometimes all you do really need is that spark to let you keep going again, which is why I like Your Lie in April so much. And the number 1 spot in this very long video goes to the anime My Happy Marriage. Now again, this is an anime that was a bit more of a Now again, this is an anime that was also a bit of a slow burn. It took me a minute to get into when I first initially watched it, but when I did, and when that moment clicked for me, and when I fell in love with this show, when I tell you I fell so hard for this show, I fell so hard for this show. You want to talk about getting over your trauma. You want to talk about being able to stand by the person you love and getting over that. You want to talk about going through a hard time. You want to talk about character development. You want to talk about character dynamics. You want to talk about world building. You want to talk about literally everything that I just said in this video about the last 9 animes. You could put it into this and dial it up to 10, because My Happy Marriage is such a phenomenal show. I can admit to myself, I do like a lot of shows. I try to be positive with a lot of the things I watch in the most recent years, but I rarely fall in love with a show. I rarely get addicted to a show, right? There are very few shows that I can look at and I can sit there, despite it being good or bad or mediocre, I will fall in love with some aspect of a show, to the point where it might dominate a lot of my life. And My Happy Marriage is one of those shows because the dynamic of the 2 main characters, Mio and Kudo, are just adorable. It's lovable. It's great. The way both of them are both so soft-spoken but so strong at the same time. With Mio being on the softer side, being very hesitant, coming from a hard background, but also being able to persevere and being able to overcome her stuff is beautiful. And it's one of the best ways I've seen as well. And then there's little Kudo, who honestly, he is just built to be every female anime fan's perfect boy. You could see it. I'm surprised there isn't more attention for him, but you could see it. But Lord Kudo being this very gentle man when it comes to Mio, but also very stern, very manly when it comes to the way that he approaches himself in society, despite his status, never it taking over him as well. It's a dynamic that I love so much. And with the both of them, they're able to just go against the societal norms that have been put on both of them. And I think the one thing this show does is that it is the most rewarding seeing Mio and Kudo being able to overcome all the shit that they go through, especially Mio. When you see all the treatment she's been given, just the bad things that she's been with her family and her mother and her sister, and all the ways that she's been treated, it is so satisfying for not only her to overcome that, but to just blow it out of the water and become better than anyone could have ever expected. It's like watching the person who's been just given a shit hand in life finally be able to get just a lucky break and be able to thrive off that. It's the success stories that we like to see. And it's interesting too, because when it comes to My Happy Marriage, they don't play their trauma as heavy-fisted as some other anime. Like the last two I just talked about, Toradora and Your Lie in April, they definitely put on their trauma stuff a lot more, and it feels a lot intense. My Happy Marriage doesn't do it on the same level, but I would argue it's more impactful. And I think it has to do with just the character dynamics and how everyone holds themselves, especially Mio. As you can see, I don't know if you could tell, I really like Mio. Mio is an adorable character. She's quite lovable, and part of me liking this anime is just wanting her to have a good life. If I'm being completely honest, a lot of why I love this anime is I just want to see Mio be happy. I just want to see Mio live a good life, no one treat her badly, and she just gets just nice treatment. I'm not saying she needs you need to give her life and luxury and stuff like that, but I just want her to live a happy life. I just want her to be happy. I just want her to be happy, and I just want that smile of hers to be happy. That's how much I'm invested into this show. I'm not even someone that dwells super deep into love for fictional characters and stuff like that. But when it comes to Mio and this whole anime, I just want to see her be happy. I want to read the pages where it's just a slice of life. It just becomes a slice of life where Kudo and Mio can live happily and they don't got to deal with any more shit. And I think that's the biggest selling point when it comes to an anime like My Happy Marriage, is that it sells its characters so well and you buy in to so much of what they go through, their dynamics, their love, their passion, that you just want to see them succeed. There's a lot of romances that will do that, but they don't really care, even with their main characters. Like I said, the supporting character stuff. But a lot of what makes a good romance as well is that you have to buy into the main characters. You have to buy into their love. You gotta buy into the fact that they care about each other, which is very interesting because they don't meet in the normal May. It's an arranged marriage when it comes to Mio and Lord Kudo, but I still buy into it because you see that Mio is thrust within this world that she doesn't really understand, or she doesn't really know, and she just assumes she's going to be treated badly because she basically got thrown to a wayside. But when it comes to Lord Kudo, he doesn't treat her like that. He doesn't treat Mio like that, and it becomes a slow building process of them just trying to get better. Either with season 2, when we're at that point where she is getting better, she still has a lot of progress, but you still see Lord Kudo trying to care for Mio, trying to, make sure Mio is safe, but Mio is now herself trying to grow into a better person. And like I said, I know I'm not trying to put anime that I haven't finished or watched, but by the time, I've at least caught up to this, okay? I've at least caught up to this one. So that's why I'm saying this. I know I'm breaking my own rules here, but My Happy Marriage is so good, I just had to put it on here. I need more people talking about this. I need more people talking about My Happy Marriage, because My Happy Marriage is, in my opinion, one of the best romance animes. It does it so well. It does the romance so well. It does the political stuff so good. I love every aspect of this show. It is wonderful, it is amazing, and I hope that this video can blow up so more people can watch this show, because it is genuinely a beautiful show to watch. It's great. Please go watch it. Please go watch My Happy Marriage. It is a fantastic romance, and I love it so much. And with that being said, this is now the end of the video. This took a lot longer to record than I initially thought it was going to, but regardless, if you like the list and you like the video, go ahead and leave a like on there and subscribe for more of this channel's content. And let me know what your top romances is. I know I'm going to get potentially a bunch of answers. I already have some few in my head. Just so you know, for context, there's a lot. I'm still diving into romance, so there's a lot that I haven't watched yet, and there's a lot that I need to watch. So who knows? Maybe in a year or two from now, when I decide to maybe come back to to this video and revise this list, I'm gonna have a vastly different list. There's some anime that might be pushed off. Some anime might go higher. Some anime might go older. I already have a few ideas of which anime might get pushed off if I watch other ones. But regardless, thank you all for watching the video. My name is Mise Kurosaki, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
I'm like so gay.